really want to talk about here with reading is saving time, I think, being effective reading approaches. And really with this task, you only have 300 words. That may seem a lot, but really, if you could write a lot more than 300 words for this topic. People write whole books on it and journal articles, as you will discover. So to get the best information for those 300 words, you have to apply some good reading approaches. And this approach we apply to many forms of reading, not just this task. We teach this. Yeah, join in. We teach this as a generic skill approach. The first thing is to skim and scan a source. I think I've always taught my students to do this even with their textbook readings. Check publishing dates, check headings, look at illustrations, skim the article for an introduction or an abstract or a conclusion, and read all those little bits of extra information that you've been given. That's easy to do. That's easy to do. We can do that, you can do that online as well, just skim through it. What is more challenging is the second step, which is questioning. Really deciding what is it I'm looking for. If you're doing this process for a lecture, you might just be getting an overview. I'm looking for a bit of everything here, seeing how this chapter is relevant for my lecture. But in this case, that's not what you're doing. You're not just preparing your reading for a tutorial or a lecture, you are looking for specific information. So you need to ask yourself these questions. You need to ask questions about what is the main point I want to find or I'm looking for in this reading. What's covered in it? In other words, does it cover those points? And how is the information given even? And this becomes quite relevant when you're looking at, say, journal articles, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. As a result, you vary your speed. This is really difficult if you're not used to doing it. You don't read everything slowly. And I often share with my students the fact that I did Old English at university, and I was the slowest reader ever. And I had to really struggle to effectively research because I kept reading at a slow pace due to Old English. And I think as a student, this is a really good skill to start practicing. So you're varying your speed. In other words, you're not going to read every single line at the same pace, and that's part of that skimming and scanning process. It's also important to think about recording information so that if you are looking at something online, you can come back to it. And also, in this case, you definitely need to reference those sources. And you're looking for keywords. And I think this is the key words I've highlighted here because that is one of the things we are focusing on with this task in terms of reading approaches.